Are you a family caregiver? Are you caregiving for someone who can no longer take care of themselves? Are you overwhelmed? This is Caregiver Solutions Info with Marcia Teele. Marcia will be hosting an hour of true stories and information, tips and updates of the latest research and necessary information in the caregiving field, focusing on you, the family caregiver. An Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert, Marcia has 15 years of hands-on experience at Arden Courts, a leader in assisted living dementia communities here in the U.S. Marcia covers everything you need to know as a family caregiver, especially if you care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease or other related dementia or chronic illness. If you have a friend or relative that is also a family caregiver, call them now. They won't want to miss a minute. And let them know they can watch on caregiversolutions.info. And they can listen on WNN 1470 AM in South Florida or nationally on the iHeartRadio app. Now, sit back, relax, and learn from our host, Marcia Teele, as she brings information to you that may just be the caregiving solution you need.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Caregiver Solutions Info Show. I'm glad that you could join us today, whether you're listening on your local radio station or you're watching us on the computer in your home or your office. I'm so glad you could join us. This is the show for caregivers. If you are a caregiver and you are having issues with your caregiving problems and you don't know where you're supposed to turn and you're not sure what to do next, sometimes you don't even know where to start. You may be a brand new caregiver or even seasoned caregivers. We never stop learning. Caregiving is a journey. There's never really an end, because once a caregiver, always a caregiver, as they say. But this show is for you so that we can ask the questions of experts in the field of all different kinds of professional fields relating to caregiving, relating to dementia, relating to Alzheimer's. And the experts are there to help you, to give you just what you might need to help solve that caregiving problem. And so I'm really glad that you joined us today. If you know someone that would benefit from the show, please let them know, and they can tune in and join us also. And we want to start today by telling you that we have some great information again today. We want to let you know that if you hear something or you want to ask a question, you can just shoot me an email. And my email address is delray@arden-courts.com. So if there's something you'd like to know, something you'd like to ask, or something that you would like to make a comment about, we'll be very glad to get that information and share it with others and answer your question. Today, I want to give you an update. We have Caregiver Boot Camp coming up. Now, I mentioned this last week. If you're in the local listening area, meaning that you're in the South Florida area and you can hear this radio station, and you probably are in the vicinity where you could attend Caregiver Boot Camp. What is Caregiver Boot Camp? It's a free workshop coming up on Friday, May 20th in Delray Beach from 10 to 11:30 a.m. It's going to be a panel of experts, including Dr. Mark Todd, who's a neuropsychologist from the Cleveland Clinic. We have Scott Solkoff, who's an elder law attorney with Solkoff Legal. We have Stephen Brill, who's a certified financial planner with Benjamin Edwards and Company, and myself, Marcia Teele, from Arden Courts Memory Care Community. And we'll be meeting over at the Jewish Family Service Weissman Center, located at 7091 West Atlantic Avenue in Delray Beach. If you'd like to attend this free caregiving boot camp, all you have to do is shoot us an email, delray@arden-courts.com. Let us know you'd like to attend. We'll sign you up. We have a few seats left. It's going to be a great panel. And the panelists, we're going to be giving a little presentation, and there will be plenty of opportunity for the attendees to do a question and answer. So it's wonderful because you have all these experts right in the same room from different venues that can answer the questions of what you need to hear. So Caregiver Boot Camp coming up. Let us know. We'll be glad to have you. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about something very different, and it's how our environment affects our quality of life. It's how our surroundings either help or hinder our daily functioning and our mood. For instance, have you ever gone to a spa? Have you ever gone to get a massage? And when you walked in, notice your surroundings. Notice the music playing, the soft music welcoming you into the spa. Notice the colors, the soft colors. Notice the aroma sometimes. Notice the feeling, the spa-like. You know, people talk about, oh, I want to redo my bathroom and I want to make it my own personal spa. Well, there are elements that contribute to a spa-like environment. And having those elements surround us is going to help us improve our quality of life, improve our mood, improve lots of things that as a person we can do better and be better, and we can actually be better caregivers because of it. We're also going to be talking about special design elements for people that have special needs that need to be incorporated for them to have quality of life. And so this is going to be a very interesting topic today. And when we return from our quick first commercial break, you're going to be meeting an expert who customize special environments for people with special needs. And we're going to get into this as soon as we come right back. So stay tuned.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live, it's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. Make First Choice your first choice for home health care. First Choice is state certified for Medicare-covered services such as medical treatment and rehabilitation. Qualified healthcare professionals come to your home and work closely with your doctor to build a care plan designed to get you back on your feet as soon as possible. Founded and operated by registered nurses, First Choice Home Health is dedicated to providing exceptional home health care. Their highly skilled medical professionals have the knowledge and ability to provide patients quality care. Call First Choice Home Health at 561-296-2770. That's 561-296-2770. And tell them you want them as your first choice. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
And we're back, and we're going to be talking to an expert in design. And I'm so happy to welcome today, we have Elaine Turner. Hi, Elaine.
Hey, Marcia, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Now, Elaine, you are the president of Exceptional Designs, and it says on your business card that you create customized environments for people with special needs.
Correct.
And that is going to be our topic today. But before we start talking about what all that means, I have to read some of your credentials because it's very extensive. Elaine has a degree in residential design from the Art Institute. She's a member of Special Needs Advisory Committee of the Children's Services Council of Broward County. She is a board member of the Broward County Advisory Board for Individuals with Disabilities. She is a board member of Broward Coalition on Aging, and she has personal experience with family members with autism, Parkinson's disease, and Alzheimer's disease. Wow, you certainly are full of credentials, which means you really are an expert, and I know that you're going to be sharing a lot of great information with us today.
I certainly will.
Okay, great. So this is a lot what you've done and you've accomplished so far, and obviously you're successful in what you do. So my first question is, why environmental design? Why interior design? Was this something that you just became interested in? And if so, why did you pursue it to create specialized custom designs for people with disabilities? So what's your story?
My story is that I had been a legal secretary for many years and felt kind of bored and felt like a document robot and wasn't very fulfilling. And then I decided to do something more creative, so I attended school at night, the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale, and I had an aha moment in one of my classes that the professor was talking about how color influences people's behavior, that a human being can't control his reaction to color, that it's kind of a physiological process. And I found out that certain colors are calming, others can be disturbing. And I said, wait a minute, I can apply this to my own son who has autism, who has serious behavioral issues. I can calm him down just by changing the color in the background of his room. And then, one thing led to another, and I learned other elements, but that's how it started.
Wow. So that was an aha moment. Sometimes that happens in our lives and we realize, wow, it just opens our mind. So did you change the color of his room?
I certainly did.
So what color was his room and what did you change it to?
Well, it's been a long time, so I don't remember the exact color, but it's basically introducing calming colors, and those are the earth tones. Blues, because of the sky, because of water, brown or beige, because that's the color of the earth and soil, and then green, because that's grass and trees and leaves.
So that's kind of funny, because when we first started the show, I mentioned about going to a spa. And I recently did get a massage at a spa. My son gave me a gift certificate for Mother's Day. Thank you, son.
That's cool.
Yes. And you walk in and it is calming, and the colors were the greens, the earth tones. I noticed that right away. And the flooring was actually slate. It was stone, and it was very nice because it was earth, and it was a natural protective covering on the floor. It wasn't carpet, it wasn't linoleum, but it was like a slate. And then they had a water element, and on the wall was trickling down, making nice noise, was water flowing. You hear that, a little bit of music in the background. It was very calming. And so, this is part of what you do, is help people to design environments that are going to be more conducive to what they do in those environments and how they want to live in those environments.
Correct.
Well, I think that's awesome. So from that, you customized, and then you got more into the specialized because of your son.
Right. He had self-injurious behavior where he had hit his head against the wall. He was impervious to pain. So I had to think about the design of the furniture, creating rounded edges so he wouldn't hurt himself, thinking about flooring. Carpet is good in certain cases, but in his case, it wouldn't be appropriate because, and we're going to discuss more into this, because as you deal with Alzheimer's and dementia, you have problems with incontinency, and my son was not toilet trained, so there were bathroom accidents happening all over. So I had to think about surfaces that were cleanable. I had to think about his protection. And so, I had to think about a cleanable floor, maybe a vinyl or a tile or something like that. And then, maybe putting a small area rug so you'd have some cushioning, but at the same time, something that could be washed, because, again, these were the circumstances. And about bedding, I have devised ways of designing a bed that could withstand, nightly accidents, which
really
is happening.
Is
yes.
that part of something that you designed specifically, or
No,
you
I just
incorporated what you learned into this?
In existence that I said, hey, this could be applied, to that to that function.
So you started out with your son, you were a caregiver for him, and then as things evolved, you realized that this is really applicable to another whole population, mainly elderly people, right? And people with other types of disabilities.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Because I found that once he was happy in his environment and that things were there that pleased him, he was totally manageable and happy. And the thing that broke through him was martial arts movies and Beanie Babies. Now, with an elderly person, it may be another sensory accessory, I call it. Music, as you mentioned, or family photos, or even a stuffed animal, or a soft blanket, a fabric that's kind of smooth and feels good. So it's a feel-good kind of system, and you just have to find the things that trigger their happy response.
So it sounds like you're including accessories into the room design to also have that special feel or touch or color, not just the floor or the walls, but the accessories are very important, the kind of furniture too.
Correct.
And so incorporating these things, with people that are aging, we have a lot of adult children that listen to our program, and this would be something that they would be interested in because they need to make mom or dad's environment as they age safer, right? More conducive to growing older and things that could help. And also people that are caring for Alzheimer's patients, because like you mentioned, they have special needs too, and things change, and as the disease progresses, other things come up and help. So it's all very, very important to design your environment as your needs change, because we all love our homes, and we buy our homes and we get it the way we want it, but there's a big revolution now, I think, coming down with the baby boomers and everybody's aging, and things that we enjoyed when we were in our 30s and 40s and 50s are now not as applicable or not as enjoyable to use because of changes, not only changes in our physical body, we're getting older and our gait isn't as good. People are falling more, their balance is off. Our strength, it's compromised a lot of time. People's strength are not able to open things as well. And so you have to really look at this. So when you have a opportunity to redo someone's environment, what are the kind of things that you do when you go into the home? How do you assess what needs to be done?
I kind of start with the entryway and evaluate
at the front door.
At the front door, you
okay.
begin at the front door. How do they get in and out? Can they turn the knob? If they can't, change it maybe to lever handles, and making sure if they have Alzheimer's and dementia, then you want to make sure that they're not going to get out without you knowing it, and that means getting some secure locks, and also getting some an alarm type system that says, okay, this person is getting out the door. Mm-hmm. I got to run to the door to get them.
Right.
So
you start right at the front door.
Right at the front door. And even are there steps, or do they need a ramp? If they're, like you said, if their gait is hindered, or they have some other physical problem with walking, then they need to have maybe a ramp. And also, if there are stairs and they can navigate the stairs, very important to have a railing on both sides.
I know of a lady who has Alzheimer's, and she was being cared for by her husband, and they lived on I think a third or fourth floor of a building, and believe it or not, it didn't have an elevator, and there were stairs. I think it was third. It was 3 levels, and there were no elevators, and there were stairs. And she was older, and both of them actually had a hard time navigating those stairs. So they almost became prisoners in their own home, because in order to get out of the house, they had to go down 3 flights of stairs. And, going down is not quite as hard as going back up. But once you're down, you got to go back up. And, it was too hard for them. So they had to make arrangements for people to bring food into their house, for someone to come and clean their house. They even had doctors that make house calls because they couldn't get out. They were like prisoners because of their environment. And it's exactly what you're saying, that, you have to change that environment, because look at their quality of life. Look at how it was affected because of now needing more than, the stairs wasn't working anymore.
The only option in that case is moving out of that place. At third floor, those stairs, very treacherous and very easy to fall. And falling is not an option when you get older, because that can be a life-changing event.
Right. So, they definitely had been suffering, and they worked their way around it. And if selling it for whatever reason wasn't something that they could do, they had to make plans for their quality of life, not to suffer. So, okay, so now we're at the front door, and we know how we can get in the house, and we know how someone can't get out of the house if they have dementia, because we're going to make sure there's an alarm or there's locks. Okay, so maybe when you walk inside the door, right? So now we're on the outside coming in. Now we've stepped foot on the inside. Now what happens?
Okay, I think the most critical room that we need to address, and the place where the most accidents occur, is the bathroom. Even though to get to the bathroom, maybe you have to go through the living room, and getting from one room to another, we'll cover that.
Okay.
But the first room is the bathroom, and needing probably an ADA height toilet, because sitting down in a standard toilet, it's low, it's hard to get up.
Now, ADA, that's Americans with Disability Act.
It's a little bit higher height toilet than the typical.
Is it common now these days still for builders to put in low toilets in homes, or have they come up with, the higher toilets? Because it seems like, people are taller these days, and it's easier for someone to not go down as far, because you have to go down so far and getting back up. It is difficult.
They still make, the typical, but I recommend for everybody, it's a kind of a universal thing. Certainly an able-bodied person can sit on a little higher toilet, and it happens, I'm able-bodied, I'm fit, and I like the fact that my toilet is higher. I find it much easier to get up and down. And then the other thing, of course, is having grab bars, because people with Alzheimer's and dementia also are suffering from some kind of physical challenges. So having grab bars is extremely important near the toilet. And also, if there's a shower, they should be one at the entrance inside, one along the long wall, and one near where the shower head is. Also, it's sometimes recommended, if they can't stand or their balance is poor, having a shower seat and having a handheld shower. And sometimes you can have both. I know in my home I have a regular shower head. I also can switch it to a handheld. You can even have both running at the same time. But that way somebody can sit and still wash themselves.
Right. These are little tips that sometimes people don't think about, because a lot of times people with dementia, Alzheimer's, they don't like the shower in the first place. They sometimes are very resistant of even going into the shower, so they don't want it all hitting them in the face. So by sitting down and using that handheld portion of it, it makes it a lot easier and gentler, and it's safer for the person with the disease, but it's also easier for the caregiver, because, they're not having to fight and trying to have someone stand up and waiting for them to slip and fall. So everything that we're discussing is not only good for the person with the disability, whatever it might be, the mental or the physical disability, but it's also good for the caregiver caring for them, because it makes their life easier. Same thing for when your child was smaller. Didn't it make your life easier once you figured out what was good for him? And you said he wasn't as rambunctious. He was calmer. He was really more secure in his environment, more comfortable, which obviously left you thinking, whew, I can breathe now. It's a little easier. So wouldn't you say it's the same thing for caregivers of adults in many respects?
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else, because I know that this is an issue that comes up with people that have dementia and Alzheimer's. They tend sometimes to get temper and aggressive. And I found with my son, and I think that this applies to everybody, water is a great remedy. if you can get them in a swimming pool, warm swimming pool, or in a shower, that feeling of the water running on them can calm them down. I found it extremely effective.
Yeah, once you can get them there and you have the warm water and sometimes people, though, it's interesting, and we're getting a little bit off track, but I think it's all good information. People with Alzheimer's, a lot of them don't want to undress. They don't want to take their clothes off. And they, for whatever reason, they very resistant, and so the caregivers have a hard time getting them into the shower and getting them to do that, and you have to cajole. But you can take a shower with your clothes on. The water goes through unless you're wearing plastic. The water goes through. And you can even replace your clothes if you can get the clothes off and replace it with a towel, or a washcloth, something there that's going to make them feel like they're not so vulnerable. And then the water comes on and it's nice and warm and it just, it's that sensory thing again that you talked about.
Yeah. You may even be able to get them to put on one of those like lightweight wraps around. Sometimes they button at the top here, at the top. And then it's like a sarong or whatever that, and then you could bathe them with that. Maybe.
Sure, right. Then that all works. So these are
covered. It's covering, but yet it's allowing the water.
It's covering, but you can actually still have access to wash the private parts and things like that. Okay, so that's a good tip also. So we're in the bathroom. We're talking about grab bars. We're talking about rugs, obviously, slip and falls.
Yeah, avoid any kind of rug that's going to movable. If you can get one with a what do you call it?
A rubber backing?
A rubber backing, thank you. I blanked out for a moment. But yes, a backing that's non-slip.
Okay.
And then that could work. Also make sure that any tiling, either in the shower floor or on the floor itself, is non-slip. They have some textured tiles that are made just for that.
Now, some people might not be able to replace their tiles to have texture on their tiles, and I know a lot of homes have this nice white, bright, shiny tile that's very slippery. Will those little sticky things that you put on the tile where you peel and stick to have grab, do those work?
They recommend those sometimes for, inside the shower and stuff like that. I don't see why it couldn't be used on the floor as well, or sometimes maybe even some adhesive kind of tread that they use on stairways. Maybe they can make a design of strips, that.
Yeah, because I was thinking, obviously you use those inside the shower so that you're not slipping and falling in the water. But if you're stepping out and you're walking and you have the same slippery tile in the bathroom, I just thought of this idea that you could take those and make a nice design on your floor. They would stick, and then you have the traction and getting from out of the shower, from the bathroom into the bedroom, maybe where it's carpeted. Before you get there, it would eliminate maybe the opportunity to have a slip and fall.
Right.
So, you can make your own design and
come up with your own answers.
Yeah.
Also, one other thing I want to mention, you can regulate the temperature in the shower. It's very important not to make it scalding hot, but to limit the temperature to 120 degrees. Very important. And also, it depends on the person and their physical shape, but there are sinks that come out of the wall where if they are in a wheelchair or, some kind of device where they can fit a little bit under the sink, then that would be the kind of sink to have, as opposed to one that has a base, on the floor.
So like if someone was in a wheelchair and they wanted to brush their teeth, that wheelchair could be pushed right up to the sink where they could actually brush their teeth.
Correct. It comes out from the wall.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Those are all good things. And that's in the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
Okay. I know, I don't know if you do anything special with mirrors, but a lot of times people that have dementia are afraid to look in a mirror.
Correct.
Because they think that it's not them. They don't know that person in the mirror. They get scared of that. It doesn't happen with everyone that has Alzheimer's or other dementias, but it is common. And so one of the things that you want to do to make it easier to get your loved one into the bathroom and into the shower is cover that mirror so they're not distracted or afraid or scared of seeing somebody else that they don't know, that who's watching me, who is that, watching me, because, we're modest and we don't want strangers watching us, and they might think that is a stranger.
Yeah, I was going to cover that in our conversation, that, to cover a mirror like in the bathroom, or if you have a mirrored wall, get rid of it. It could be really disturbing. And also another thing about, the decor and just in general, if there are drapes with a pattern, or if you have pattern wallpaper in your bathroom or something like that, that also can be disturbing. Get rid of patterns.
Do you know, I have to tell you this, but because we're talking about the bathroom and we're talking about mirrors, I have a girlfriend, and first time I went to her house, I had to use the powder room. She was right over there, and I walked into that room, and I am not kidding you. Every square inch of that powder room was mirrored. The ceiling was mirrored. The floor was mirrored. The walls were mirrored. It was the weirdest thing. I mean, you felt like you were in a fun house, and you didn't know where to turn, because everywhere you turned, you saw reflection after reflection after reflection. And it made you dizzy almost, and I just thought of that. You just brought that to my mind, but that certainly wouldn't be a really good environment for someone that not only had disabilities physically or mentally, because I think you might think you were dreaming, and certainly would make you dizzy. So, but it's fun. I mean, it's fun. It makes you have something to talk about when her guests come to visit her. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more exceptional designs.
Do you need the advice of an elder law attorney, but perhaps find it difficult or overwhelming getting to appointments? The solution is the Elder Law Department. They bring elder law to you by meeting with you in the comfort of your own surroundings to discuss your personal situation and family needs. In practice since 1994, Heidi Friedman is a member of the Elder Law section of the Florida Bar. She and her team help families with issues that include incapacity and estate planning, asset preservation, veterans benefits, and other legal issues that seniors may face. Call the Elder Law Department at 954-383-1143. 954-383-1143. They bring elder law to you. Make First Choice your first choice for home health care. First Choice is state certified for Medicare-covered services such as medical treatment and rehabilitation. Qualified healthcare professionals come to your home and work closely with your doctor to build a care plan designed to get you back on your feet as soon as possible. Founded and operated by registered nurses, First Choice Home Health is dedicated to providing exceptional home health care. Their highly skilled medical professionals have the knowledge and ability to provide patients quality care. Call First Choice Home Health at 561-296-2770. That's 561-296-2770. And tell them you want them as your first choice. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
And we're back, and I'd like to thank not only our local sponsors, but our national sponsor, Arden Courts Memory Care Community, for making this show possible. Arden Courts has communities located all across the United States, and they are considered an expert in the field of dementia care because dementia is all they do. They are a memory care community, and if you're interested in finding out more about memory care communities, you'll want to call Arden Courts. They have a toll-free number you can call and ask questions, and while you're busy calling their toll-free number asking questions, you may want to ask them about the free 36-hour day book. This is a book that Arden Courts would like to give away to you, a family caregiver. The book is awesome because it covers everything from soup to nuts regarding dementia and Alzheimer's care. It's a family guide to caring for people who have Alzheimer's disease-related dementia and memory loss. And this book is yours if you just call Arden Court on their toll-free number. That number is 888-478-2410. And I'll say it again, 888-478-2410. 478-2410. Call them and tell them you heard about the offer on the Caregiver Solutions Info program, and they'll get your information and mail a book right out to you. You won't want to not have this in your library. It's great reading. It's easy reading, but it's important reading. And you'll be glad to have this as a resource. And if you know someone that could benefit from this, call and get the book for them. You'll be glad that you did, because they'll be very happy that they have it. So we're back talking with Elaine Turner from Exceptional Designs. And Elaine is an interior designer who has a special knack of creating customized designs for people with special needs. And we're talking about disabilities, both mental and physical, people that are older, people that are handicapped, people that have memory problems. And, that's a lot to do. And, obviously with your training and your experience, you help a lot of people with this. So we've been talking about in the home, how to make your home safer, how to incorporate different colors into the home to make it a calmer environment for the needs. We're talking about bathroom safety. We're talking about in and out of the house, how to get in and get out of the house in a safe manner. And you mentioned during break, I want to pursue this. You talked about patterns in the home. You started to talk about draperies. If you have draperies with a pattern, let's talk a little bit about that. Why are patterns important when we're doing interior design for people with special needs?
Well, the patterns I was talking about, like prints and floral things on curtains, is confusing for them. And we were talking about having some kind of visual clues that will direct the person to the room that they want to go to, like having maybe a very subtle pattern in the tile on the floor leading to the bathroom, one leading to the kitchen. You might even be able to paint a very thin pinstripe on the wall, leading, one color leading to the bathroom, one color leading to the kitchen. Also, you can have pictures of the bathroom and kitchen at different places so they know where they're going. It gives them a hint on the direction, and it's important for them to find their way from one room to another.
Right. So you're talking about visual cues. So if you're in your home and mom's always saying, "Where's the bathroom? Where's the bathroom?" So you might decide that you're going to take yellow tape. Now, they have rolls of like duct tape or masking tape, and they come in different colors. And you could pick a color, and you could say, "Okay, I'm going to put it on the wall from here to there. Follow the yellow line, Mom, and you'll take you to the bathroom."
Correct.
So that you're saying something like that.
Yes.
Same thing with the kitchen. Follow the red, right? Maybe red for food, and it'll take you to the kitchen. And so instead of having to tell them over and over and over, if you give them that hint or they can remember that clue, then they can follow it. And when they do, they'll end up where they want to go, and they'll feel good about it because they did it. And I think that's great in your home. You can do that. At Art and Quartz was specially designed for people with memory loss. And a lot went into the design. It was on the drawing board for about 5 years. And we had input from geriatricians and neurologists, psychologists, probably special interior designers as yourself, to create an environment that was perfect for someone with memory loss, that's going to support them throughout the progression of their disease, that's going to elevate their self-esteem, and it's going to make them feel good and improve their quality of life by exactly what you're talking about. It's those clues and that cueing for them. Art and Quartz has the different colored sections. We call it a house. So each house has its own color. It has its own theme as far as pictures. It has even different sizes of the night lights, or the little front porch lights. Some are square, some are oblong, some are round. These are all cues. They also have their own names with the names of the little house. So a person that is confused, obviously, that's why they're living in a community and they need that support. You can say, "Oh, John, you go to the blue door," or Sarah, you see that bird there on that door? That's where you live. And so you can talk about the design, you can talk about the color, and it's something that they can recognize. And so they're like, oh, okay, I see that blue door, and I know where to go, and then they go. So you can incorporate some of these same things in your own home.
Yeah, and just I think I should point out that to making sure that the interior has clear pathways, is that they're not obstructed, that it's uncluttered and safe in that regard.
Yeah, last week we had Eileen from I Declutter You, and she was on the show, and so that was her pitch was, hey, don't have a cluttered house because it will impede not only your peace of mind, but it's going to impede your safety. So again, this can't be stressed enough with decluttering, not having things in the pathway of someone with disabilities, because when someone, especially with memory loss, have Alzheimer's, they have sometimes problems with their peripheral vision. They have problems with their depth perception, and they're not always able to see these types of things, and they don't see the objects for what it is. So a stack of books maybe in a hallway could look like a hole to them, or they might not even see and understand what it is and where it's at because they're looking in a different direction, or maybe they have a physical impairment and they don't actually see these things.
Yeah, and you want to make sure also there's contrast between the floor and the wall, and and contrasting colors with the furniture, so it doesn't all blend in and it looks like it's invisible.
I am so glad you said that, because again, that's very true, because in a lot of our homes, a lot of people have monochromatic, and everything's a white, the floors are white, the walls are white, or we're all like vanilla, the beige, whatever the color is. But that's very confusing. It all kind of mushes together, and there's no distinctiveness between the flooring and the walls. It makes it harder for someone to navigate and to understand where they're going and where something starts and where something ends.
Correct.
Right?
So have a really good transition between, like a living room and a bedroom, a living room and a kitchen. Make sure that the floor is somewhat contrasting so they can see the change.
This is great, because at Arden Courts, I just have to tell you that what you're saying is spot on, because at Arden Courts, the residents have their bedroom and they have their bathroom. And the flooring is different in the bedroom than it is into their bathroom. And they have a line of vision between their bed and the toilet. And at night, when the caregivers tuck them into bed, that door to the bathroom is left wide open, and there's a light inside and a little night light on the outside. And when a resident wakes up, the first thing that they see in their straight line of vision is that toilet. So that acts as a cue to them. So if they wake up and they see that, they think, oh, do I need to go? And if I do, I know exactly where it's at. It's right in their line of vision, and they don't have to figure out what door it's behind, what corner it's around. And when they get up, and they are going from their bedroom into the bathroom area, the floors are different. And I think a lot of times, it's subliminal messaging, and it's just, like you said before, psychological understanding, where they understand that this room has one look, the floor, and it's for one purpose. So this is my bedroom, this is where I sleep. But now I'm moving into another room with a different floor because it has a different purpose. And you see that, right, in the homes and the things that you do, that this makes it easier for them. So you can incorporate some of these things also in the home. As Arden Courts has done all the research, and they have this expertise knowledge, but if you're in a situation where you're still at home with your loved one, these are some of the things that you can do to help them understand where something starts and where it ends, and how to get from point A to point B.
And also, one other big safety feature that I think I should bring up is the fact of any cleaning stuff, any tools, any chemicals, anything like that could be a danger to your loved one. Lock it up someplace. Cannot be accessible.
Good advice.
It just cannot be. It's out of the question. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, just to keep them busy, you can have a little basket of stuff that maybe they can sort, or maybe a basket of laundry to fold, something to keep them busy. They like to be busy with their hands. That's fine, but keep the dangerous stuff out of reach completely.
Right, because they don't have the wherewithal, especially people that have dementia. They a lot of times they can't read anymore. But I'll give you a perfect example. I mean, look at some of our cleaning products that we have every day in our houses, or go to the grocery store and go down the cleaning aisle. How many containers do you see that have a lemon on them? How many containers have an orange? How many containers have, plants or whatever on them? And if a person with a disability, it could be a sight, it could be they have poor eyesight, it could be they have dementia, it could be lots of things. It could be a child even that doesn't know the difference between a cleaning product that has lemon on it, or maybe this is a lemon and, I remember that mom made lemonade, and they're going to open it up and drink it. So it's very, very important. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's part of our environment. And when you go into a home, it's part of, I'm sure, your design that, okay, you need to take these potentially dangerous objects and lock them away. And so you make a space for that in part of your design, right?
Right, correct.
That's it, yeah.
And, you mentioned lighting. Have adequate lighting in the daytime. Take advantage as much as you can of natural light, and also make sure you have adequate lighting at night so they can see where they're going. That's really, really important.
Night lights are important. That's right. They really are. People with disabilities, we really can't put ourselves in their shoes, because we can only imagine what it's like, not to be able to see well, and people have cataracts and glaucoma and macular degeneration and all of these things. We have to incorporate all of these design elements to help them. And then on top of all those physical disabilities, you throw Alzheimer's into the mix, and it really is confusing for them. And, I always say, we don't know what it's like. We can't get into somebody's head. Obviously, they can't be in our world. So we have to make their world, as safe and as comfortable as possible for them, and to protect them and keep them safe and supervise all of that. But it's very important for us to have this conversation and to be aware of all of these things. One of the things that you brought up about pictures, one of the things that we do at Arden Courts is very interesting, and it's something that most people don't even think about until I point it out to them. But we have pictures on the wall. We want to make it look nice. It's a very home-like environment, and we have nice paintings and pictures on the wall, and there's glass on the picture. Well, our glass is non-glare glass, so that if a person is walking down the hall, and let's say the picture is on the wall at the end of the hallway, and they're walking toward that, they're not going to see a reflection, because a lot of people, like we talked about mirrors, well, a lot of people with dementia are going to see that reflection in that picture frame, and it's going to startle them, or they're going to think somebody's in there, or somebody's coming after them. Right. So all of our pictures that we have non-glare glass, so they can see the beautiful picture and not be startled.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, so if you have your home and you want to maybe do the same thing, you don't have to take all your pictures off the wall, but make it so that it's nice and comfortable to look at and not glaring.
Yeah, and one thing I'd love to mention, I hope you'll allow me, and that is caregivers. Take care of yourselves. Beware, because if you don't, and your health deteriorates, you're going to go into the next life, and your loved one is going to be left behind. Not a good thing. So make sure that you get a break. Get somebody maybe to fill in, maybe get some outside help to hire. It's worth it, because if you don't, you're going to suffer. Because I know that I started to with my young son, and then with my late husband. You have to take care of yourself. It's like they say in an airplane, if there's an oxygen thing and the oxygen mask come down, you put it on your own face first, then you take care of.
Those are wise words from someone who knows. We're going to take our last commercial break, and we'll be right back with Elaine.
Do you need the advice of an elder law attorney, but perhaps find it difficult or overwhelming getting to appointments? The solution is the Elder Law Department. They bring elder law to you by meeting with you in the comfort of your own surroundings to discuss your personal situation and family needs. In practice since 1994, Heidi Friedman is a member of the Elder Law section of the Florida Bar. She and her team help families with issues that include incapacity and estate planning, asset preservation, veterans benefits, and other legal issues that seniors may face. Call the Elder Law Department at 954-383-1143. 954-383-1143. They bring elder law to you. Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
And welcome back. And we're talking to Elaine Turner from Exceptional Designs. And Elaine's an exceptional person because she took upon herself to learn design and apply it to people that have special needs and make their environment better for them, for better quality of life. And it's so exciting to know that you're so passionate about this, Elaine. You have a lot of experience. You've been a caregiver yourself. So you're really coming to the table here, not only from a professional point of view, but also from a caregiving point of view also.
Right. And I guess I can't stress enough, and we had talked about this, that caregivers, you need to take care of yourselves. You really need to take care of yourselves. And there are ways, if you like affordable, go to a nursing, approach a nursing college. Maybe there's a nursing student that wants to earn some extra money. Now, my father had dementia, didn't want to be taken care of. So I told my stepmother, hire a student, tell her she's coming in, let her run the vacuum cleaner and make it look like she's cleaning the house for you, which he was fine with, and not knowing that she's actually going to keep an eye on him.
Hey, I don't think he would mind a pretty young girl, student coming in and running the vacuum. So he could watch, and that would. You got to do what you have to do.
Be creative.
Be creative.
And think about ways that you can get yourself relieved so you can get out of the house, go shopping, or to even take a nap or something. Just give yourself a break so that you're in the best shape possible to take care of your loved one.
Yeah, it is important, and I know that you've been there and you've done that. And one of the things that people can do to make their life less stressful is the tips that we've incorporated today in today's talk about exceptional design, people that have disabilities, people that have dementia. These are things that you need to do in your home, and that's going to give you more peace of mind knowing that your loved one's going to be safer and it's going to be a better environment, and you'll rest a little easier also with all the tips that we've had. So if someone would like to call you, Elaine, and ask you questions or find out how you do your magic, how can they reach you?
They can reach me on my cell phone at 954-232-1679. And I also suggest that you visit my website. It's www.exceptionaldesigns.com. Very simple. It's my company name. And on the website, you'll see testimonials from clients. You'll see pictures of work that I've done. And I've been in the news a few times and now on the radio with Marcia. And so you'll get all of these things and get some ideas. And I'm more than happy to talk to people. I don't charge to talk to people.
Oh, that's
so
wonderful.
Please feel free to call and ask any questions or get any advice I can give you.
Wonderful. Can you give that number one more time?
The number is 954-232-1679.
There you go. So you want to call Elaine. She doesn't charge to talk, and she'll help you and answer questions, and maybe she'll come over and give you some tips in your own home and help you through that process, because anything we can do to make life better, make it easier for us and improve our quality of life. Also, I want to make sure that everybody remembers to call the toll-free number for Arden Courts and get your 36-hour day book. This has been a very popular offer. People are taking advantage of this. We've been shipping them out left and right. It's a wonderful book. Call Arden Courts, toll-free number 888-478-2410. Ask them for the 36-hour day book. In this book, it is incredible. It talks about different behaviors. You know, I know that you talk about helping people because a lot of people rummage and people can't reach a lot of their things. And so there's special designs that you can do for helping people to reach their things. But it talks about all kinds of tips on wandering and people that rummage and how to tell when someone is, experiencing different emotions through the process of Alzheimer's and the incontinence and the personal hygiene and all the things that we kind of talked about today was how to handle those things. So we hope that you got something out of the show. I certainly did. Thank you so much, Elaine, for joining us today. And stay tuned next week, same time, same place for Caregiver Solutions Info. And in the meantime, don't forget, give somebody a hug because they need it and so do you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Caregiver Solutions with Marcia Teele. Join us next week as Marcia, who has 15 years of Alzheimer's disease and dementia care experience, brings you more needed information to help with the care of your loved one. This show can be seen again on caregiversolutions.info, and questions can be left on the site, which may be used on the program to help others. See you next week for more Caregiver Solutions. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests, and callers.